Come and read with us.
This is called Will You Still Love Me If? By Catherine Leblanc.
Catherine Leblanc.
Leblanc. She's the author.
That's the author.
The author's the one who wrote the story. Little Bear tears his jacket when he's playing. Oh dear, Mum will be angry. Mum is feeling tired. She's been working all day. Oh dear, how did you do that? Give it to me and I'll mend it. Look, can you see it in the back?
Yeah, why?
Well, he's torn it.
How?
Maybe he was climbing a tree or something, because look, there's a branch in his hand. Little Bear looks sad. What's the matter? Mum asks as she looks for the right colour thread. Mum, I'm sorry I tore my jacket. Do you still love me? Of course I do, Mum says. Why wouldn't I love you just because of that? Look, there's her thread. What colour should she use for the jacket?
Red.
That's it. As his mum starts to sew with small stitches, Little Bear rummages through her sewing box. If I tore all my clothes, would you still love me? He asks. If you did that, I'd be very angry, Mum says, but I'd still love you. Oh look, he's pulling all the thread out. Little Bear feels better. He makes a house out of all the buttons. Then he asks, if I didn't do any work at school and got a bad report, would you still love me? I'd be very disappointed, but I would still love you, Mum says.
What those?
They're buttons.
But put those on the top of
I think
the
these are
button.
just different types of buttons.
But
Special buttons. What if I was really naughty and jumped up and down on the bed and broke it and made a mess in the house? Would you still love me then? I'd be very upset and I would try to stop you, but of course I'd still love you, Mum says. Oh dear. Well, that wouldn't be good behaviour if you did that, would it?
no.
And look, he's broken the clock as well.
Yeah.
Then Little Bear asks a silly question. What if I was a huge and ugly and green and covered in bugs? Wow, that's different, laughs Mum. But Little Bear keeps going. You wait, one day you'll stop loving me. Never, Mum says. You'll always be my little bear and I'll always love you no matter what. That will never change.
Why does she have an umbrella?
Because all the bugs are falling out
For what?
of the bear.
Why does he have bugs on here?
Maybe they're fleas. Some bears have fleas, I'm sure. But Little Bear wants to be sure. And what if I stop loving you? Then I would be very, very sad. And I would cry, Mum says. But I wouldn't stop loving you. Maybe she's sad that he asks that question. There is something that still worries Little Bear very much.
What's those?
That's the chair.
Oh, what's on the chair?
Maybe that's the pattern of the chair. But he doesn't dare ask, looking down at the floor and fiddling with his buttons. At last he asks, what if you died? Mum stops sewing and looks up. That's a difficult question to answer. But I think that even then, I would still love you.
Oh, it's a ring.
I think it's just a type of button.
No.
Or maybe it's a ring. But how would I know? Asked Little Bear. Well, Mum says, When you feel the wind gently stroking your fur, see the streams sparkling in the sunlight, and when you hear the birds flying above you, you will know deep inside, but I'm still here, and I'm not dead yet. Little Bear comes over and cuddles close to his mum.
Why is the chair in that?
Well, they're imagining them in water. The chair's on water, and they're on a giant lily pad. Can you see?
Yeah, what's a lily pad?
A lily pad is like a plant that grows in water. Have you ever seen a frog sat on a lily pad?
No.
I'll have to show you a picture sometime. Then suddenly he leaps down and runs around the room. He runs around faster and faster, making noises like an aeroplane. Be quiet, Little Bear, laughs Mum. Then Little Bear shouts, and what if I don't want you to love me anymore? Mum looks down at her sewing. Oh, I would wait until you loved me again. It wouldn't take very long. Meow. Pretending to fly around the room like an aeroplane. Little Bear looks at her round tummy and asks his last question. And what if one day you love someone else more than you love me? More than you? Mum asks. That's impossible.
What's that?
Maybe she's got a baby in her tummy. I might love someone in a different way, but I wouldn't change anything because I'll always love you. But it wouldn't change anything.
Maybe she has pretend food in her tummy.
Pretend food, maybe. I think she might have a baby in her tummy. She ties a knot, bites off the thread, and puts his jacket down. Little Bear pulls it on. He wants to go out and play with his friends. Then he asks, but what if I love somebody else more than I love you? Mum looks calmly at Little Bear. I would still love you.
Why does she have fuzzy eyes?
You can love whoever you choose because she's happy that he's asking all of these questions, maybe. Because he's curious. He wants to learn about love. Here we go.
He's the authors.
That's the author and the illustrator.
Is that the illustrator?
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
That's the author.
I think both of these are the illustrator.
The author and the illustrator.
I think that's the illustrator and that's the author.
I think you're right.
Look, this is the author and this is the illustrator.
Mm-hmm. Trinity.
What?
You know what?
What?
I love you.
You know what's stopping me from loving you?
What?
Nothing. Okay, so
I'll say please.